This is Debbie Bucher for the LPN to RN Transitions course. I just wanted to add an addendum to Chapter 1. It didn't record, but just go ahead and take a look in your book on TOMI, the different types of changes, as all these changes there are different meanings to all them. I don't think that I have any quiz question with relation to to the meanings of each of these changes, but I guess just go ahead and take a look at it. And of course, again, we all want to be lifelong learners. I believe in learning something new every day. So that concludes that first chapter, and now I'm going to go into the second chapter for lecture here in the LPN to RN Transitions book. Chapter 2, Assessing Yourself and Designing Success. So empowerment is something we feel as it provides a way for us to decide to do something, or maybe to set free the ability to make a change and to be able to move forward, much like you are all doing. You all have personal empowerment. You give yourself and you put yourself in the position of having the opportunity and of succeeding and enabling your own success. And we can all always improve our personal empowerment skills by, number one, assuming an internal locus of control. And what that means is that you are able to look within yourself and you decide that you are making the change and you have the power in your life to do this change and to empower yourself. So you also want to tell yourself and practice positive self-talk instead of being negative. I think we all have a tendency to be pretty negative, and it brings us down, and it makes it then even all the more harder to do whatever it is we have set our minds to do. So try not to get caught up into self-defeating talk or self-defeating behaviors. Really, positive self-talk and encouraging yourself really goes a long ways. And just kind of remember this and correct or try to minimize your weakness or your barriers, and just really look at and maximize and look at your gifts and how you are empowering yourself and taking charge of making this change. And again, practicing self-talk and try to eliminate again the self-defeating behaviors, because it's hard enough, and if you have a lot of self-defeating behaviors, that certainly isn't going to help you be successful. And you might even want to write down a plan of action maybe to support your outcome, and maybe state what you feel your gifts and barriers are, and focus on the gifts, and maybe take a look at the barriers and see maybe there's something else you can do to maybe help that barrier be turned into a gift and not be a negative. And of course, review that plan from time to time. You may even find useful keeping a journal, and just, again, being mindful of your gifts and barriers will hopefully help you make the best decisions for yourself and maximize your learning and maximizing your talents. You also want to manage your health during the course of going back to school. You're going to be very busy, of course, with your families and school and working. So you want to manage your success and manage your health, and try to do the things you can do that's going to be healthy, and try to continue to exercise, even if it is just going out and maybe taking a 20-minute walk. You're still doing something for yourself that I think is very important. And again, I talked about your gifts and barriers, your action plan. You just want to make sure you come up with a plan that's going to help you achieve and focus on your outcome and make it a priority. You want to be specific with your action plan and how are you going to meet your goals. And then again, continue to assess and reassess. So you assess, take action, implement the plan and prioritize, define and diagnose where it is you want to go, and assess and then reevaluate. it's important that we continue to reevaluate as we go along. And there's, of course, different learning styles. Kolb has different learning styles that you may or may not have heard about, but there's different phases. There's the concrete experience, which is basically where you have hands-on learning, which many of you, like myself, do better with hands-on learning. I can't just look at something and read something and just go and be able to do it. I need to look at it. I need to experience it. I need to have the hands-on learning in order for me to be able to grasp that idea and to be able to learn it and to be successful. Reflective observation is people who do prefer just to watch and learn, and maybe they're very good at that, but I personally am not. Abstract conceptualization is you organize your learning, and active experimentation is learning best by doing and maybe just trying it out and trying different things to see maybe what works the best for you. And as we all mature and get older, your preferred style probably is more the of the traits of all four categories versus maybe just just one. So Kolb describes these different learning styles and experiences, and there are different questionnaires that you can do to determine how you learn the best, but you probably have an idea of how you all learn the best. And again, this is just the different phases. Again, the concrete experiences is also considered hands-on learning. And again, reflective observation is watching people and watching them, and you're learning and you're listening. You're a really good listener if you like this way of learning. And this person doesn't really require hands-on learning. They're really better at just watching and listening. And again, abstract conceptualization is more data organizer learners. They order and arrange their information in meaningful ways. And these people really have a tendency to like more the lecture format. Where active experimentation is you just get in there, jump in there, and you try different things and you see what is going to be the best way to solve this problem or the best way for you to learn. There is a VARC questionnaire that you may be able to go online and complete. It helps you to understand how you like to, of course, receive the information and how you best like to learn. It kind of can help you to understand not only yourself, but maybe your colleagues, your parents, your people that you work with, your partner, your teachers. It's just a short inventory tool that usually is pretty well received and just helps people understand not only themselves, but understand how they can learn and be more effective in many situations, and maybe just help you to understand other people as well. So yeah, so strategies that people can understand and really give you the power to move forward. There is a address there that you can go to and maybe copy and paste that and see if you can complete that VARC questionnaire. So self-directed learners usually this is associated with successful learners. They oftentimes will kind of help determine the pace and how to study. Maybe these people have a tendency to enjoy a home study course or independent study, much like what this online course is for the LPN to RN Bridge. You can sit down and read or listen to the PowerPoints really anytime that you want to. You decide when it is you're going to sit down and study. So it really puts the decision up to you how and when you want to do this. So there's also other ways that you can own your learning, such as taking the initiative and being empowered and being independent in your learning. You persist, you're disciplined, and you're determined. You understand that you are the one that is responsible for your own learning, and that your teachers mainly serve as guides and facilitators. Your teachers are not the be all end all, and don't think you're going to learn everything from the teacher or from that PowerPoint. You need to make sure that you get into your book, read what it has to say, do the questions, and this will also help you learn as you go along the way. And you want to have self-efficacy, and that's the ability to have the control over one's own motivation, behavior, and social environment, and how it is you're going to plan and accomplish meeting your goals. And of course, action is how are you going to meet them, and what is the impact of you meeting your goals. Just all ways that you can empower yourself. And then we talked about internal locus of control earlier. It describes where you believe the power is in your life resides, and it can either be internal or external. And internal, you recognize that the responsibility for your learning, it lies within yourself. An external view is the responsibility lies outside of oneself. So external locus of control is outside of yourself, and the responsibility, you put the responsibility on somebody else, such as your teacher, and say, well, the test was too hard and the instructor gave me a B. How dare she? It was really not a good test, and it was very hard. Or internal locus of control is where you recognize that you're responsible for your learning, you're responsible for what happens to you and what you do. And again, positive self-talk is something that's important, I think, that we all need to do from time to time. And you need to be encouraging. When you're thinking about yourself, think about yourself in an encouraging way. And you want to get the support. You give yourself the support, and also allow other people to support you as well. And just really try to limit your self-talk. It's really kind of a self-defeating behavior that really doesn't help you much. And again, like I just said, you want to eliminate self-defeating behavior such as pessimism. You assume the situation is going to have a negative outcome when maybe you haven't even approached the situation. You can choose to be an optimist or a pessimist. Nitpicking, you're rationalizing a decision that otherwise would not be supported. You look for just the tiniest of faults and put yourself down. Worrying, which I think we all worry from time to time, but worry really doesn't help us. Really, it wastes our time, causes us to kind of just freeze, and we're unable to move forward, which doesn't help. Perfectionism is really truly a very self-defeating behavior, and it's really kind of impossible for any of us to be a perfectionist. But you try and you try to be a perfectionist, but it really leads you to unhappiness and really can stifle your learning for somebody that really just strives to try to be a perfectionist. Blaming is when you don't take responsibility for your actions, and if you don't take responsibility, then you can't make the change. You really want to manage your work of success, make good decisions. How are you going to do this? Decisions on deciding on what you want, and what you're in control in. And planning helps you build confidence, and it is really essential to you being successful and to have the resources that you need. And commitment is making that decision and being totally dedicated to what you're doing, and of course requires discipline, even if it doesn't go well from time to time. And again, we all need to be good time managers, especially going back to school and with your many responsibilities, and trying to be as organized as what you can be. And again, try to allow those people to help you as well. And really being organized will really help you out in your endeavor as you continue on in school. So again, you want to assess and set your goals to help you be successful in your learning and your life activities. Um, and that's a good way to prioritize and a good time management. And there are also some time wasters that people use that is not a good thing. But paralysis by planning is when you come up with I'm sure we've all done this, where we come up with a really good plan and we have all good intentions of implementing it, but then we never do get around to doing that. And again, perfectionism can lead to maybe handing in assignments late because you don't feel like they're good enough to hand in. Really, you just want to focus on doing best with the time you have and making sure that you're meeting your goals and getting things handed in on time. Boredom, this may occur from time to time as you're learning. Some subjects are a little bit more exciting to teach than others. You may even get a little bored here as you go through the PowerPoint, but I hope that we can kind of make your fun, make your learning hopefully have some fun in it while you are learning. And again, you don't want to be hostile. You don't want to be blaming others, and you just really want to take the emotion out of it and just do the best you can. And an adrenaline rush, according with time management, is when you kind of wait for the last minute to do something. And although I will say there are people who use this adrenaline rush, and actually they do quite well, but that is not something that I find success in. I do not do well with procrastination and waiting for the last minute. I need to get things done because it always, of course, probably takes you longer to do something anyway. So the moral to this story is, don't try to utilize these time wasters. Really focus on how you can be successful and setting your goals and prioritizing and coming up with a good plan and making sure that you have the study time allotted and enough study time allotted for all of your classes that you feel like that you're giving it due diligence and getting into the books and making sure you're doing your reading and answering questions. And so, but it all takes a lot of planning and organization. So make sure that you are able to do this. And again, I touched on earlier about managing your health. Of course, going back to school is very stressful. It affects you as well as your significant others. So you want to be aware of your different stressors and try to do the things that are going to help you out the most and reflect and make changes where you feel like maybe you need to make changes to be able to help you out and to help you just manage your stress. And identifying automatic thoughts that come quickly and without a reason, just you can identify them and identify them as these thoughts that just come quickly without a reason, but just don't believe them and just stick with your plan. And then cognitive distortions, all or nothing thinking is really just kind of a irrational thought that if you say, oh, I can't get a perfect on this paper, then I might as well not try. So that's a pretty self-defeating behavior that you really want to not adopt. Overgeneralization is when you lump all similar situations or events in one category, which is usually a negative way to do things. And mental filtering is having one negative detail and then characterizing the whole thought by that one negative part. Disqualifying the positive is really your inability to see the positive experiences as important or refusing to accept compliments for a job well done. Jumping to conclusions is mind reading or making decisions without evidence. Magnification is you really kind of make the situation much more worse than what it actually is. Emotional reasoning is just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that it's true. Or you don't want to confuse feelings with what is actually fact. Should statements are meant to bring about actions, but rarely do. You say I should lose 5 pounds, but then you never do anything about it that will help you. Labeling is when a person or situation or event is labeled inappropriately with the characteristics of others within the category. And personalization is when you place yourself in the center of everything. You make everything about yourself and you blame yourself, whether it's negative or positive. So you need to be careful with these ideas that will distort the way you're thinking. And really what you want to focus on are coping mechanisms that you can adopt that will help work with you. Distraction is you want to lay aside and try to do the things that you can do to remain healthy and allow yourself time to have the ability to study so that you can deal with your studying or whatever it is you're trying to do with it, dealing with it directly. Direct action is when you're doing something that you can do to help resolve the problem. So you're acting. Relaxation, of course, will help you manage stress by, even if you're sitting down and putting your feet up for 30 minutes of the evening before you maybe venture on and make supper or help your kids with their homework, or are sitting down to do your homework. And reframing is being able to look at a situation with another perspective to alter your behavior and make it better. Affirmation is really, uh, talking to yourself, being positive and saying, I can do this. Assertive communication is being able to communicate your needs and desires clearly so that others can help respond appropriately and help support you. Spirituality, if you're spiritual and turning to your faith, can help you with your stressors and help put life back into your perspective. Of course, crying and laughter can both be a release and be helpful. Journal writing, some of you may feel journal writing is a good way to process stressful situations and help you learn from those so that you're better prepared to deal with those in the future. And of course, social support is being able to share with your family and friends what's going on and ways maybe that they can help you. And empathy is just putting yourself in someone else's shoes, that I think that we probably do a lot with our patients when we are helping our patients and trying to better understand what they're going through and putting ourselves in their shoes so we have a better understanding so that we can help them more. And acceptance is being able to let go of the things that are really outside of our control, and just really we need to help maintain balance whenever you are unable to alter or change, whatever situation that is going on. So this concludes chapter 2, assessing yourself and designing success, which is important.